Ever since PortAventura World opened in 1995, they've continued to grow and expand, with various new rides added to PortAventura Park and a brand new theme park right next door called Ferrari Land. The resort itself has grown so much, with lots of new additions and also more accommodation that's been added over the years as well. As of 2026, it's one of the biggest theme park resorts anywhere in Europe. It's also home to some absolutely fantastic rides. In this video, I'm going to count down my top 10 favourite rides at PortAventura World. This will include rides in both of their theme parks, PortAventura Park and also Ferrari Land as well. We've got lots to talk about in this video, including some absolutely brilliant rides. So let's get started with the 10th place. As always, I would love to know how your list compares down below in the video comments as well. So be sure to drop them down below. I look forward to reading all of your comments. But here we go, 10th place, it's Thrill Towers, located in Ferrari Land, the second gate theme park that opened in 2017. This was an opening day attraction for this park as well. 180 foot tall S&S shot and drop towers. I like the fact they put two of these in, not just from a capacity point of view, but also just because of the views that you can get from on there as well. Looking at the other riders, it's quite cool when they're dispatched together and you can see the rides on the other one and give them a wave. Just adds a bit more to the ride experience and the interaction. What makes this are the fact you've got combo towers, shot and drop down as well. The settings can vary, but they are very good, and the views that you get are excellent, not just over that park, but also of nearby PortAventura Park and the surrounding area as well. You can look down towards Salou when you're on one side, where you've got like the waterfront area looking over the beach. Along with that, you've also got the absolutely fantastic views looking of Red Force, the tallest and fastest roller coaster, which is right next door to that. And of course, yeah, it's a record holder for Europe. So yeah, it's great how these rides are built next to it, and it all depends on which side you're on, but every side offers views, whether of the parks, Red Force, or the surrounding area as well. Yeah, just good fun ride, nice and forceful as well, and certainly a nice modern take on like the classic S&S shot tower. A little bit updated restraint systems on here, and yeah, the ride's always just very enjoyable when I've been on there. Right then, into 9th place of the list then now, it's Sesame Street Street Mission. This is a dark ride built by ETF. It's a trackless ride and it opened in 2019. It's also an interactive shooting dark ride as well. Something that PortAventura had always lacked was dark rides. Back in the day, you used to have an attraction called Sea Odyssey, which was a simulator ride. It's been closed for a number of years now, but ever since that closed, there's really been a gap in PortAventura for dark rides. So when this opened in 2019, I thought it was an absolutely brilliant addition, and I still think to this day it's a great ride because yes, it's very screen-based and you've got lots of interactive elements, but there's a lot of props and theming around and animatronics as well. It all starts off with a really nice themed exterior in the Sesame Street area that's home to other rides, roller coasters, flat rides and so much more. So it's right there at the back of the area. You actually cross over the train line to get to it, which adds to it. There's a little fountain out the front and it looks the part, fitting with the whole kind of cartoon feel of Sesame Street. In the queue line itself, you've got Grover up there at the top as an animatronic, which is very cool, and he walks out and interacts with you as you're in the queue. And then you're onto the ride system itself, trackless dark ride. I mean, I love a good trackless system anyway, especially from ETF. I think they do some really good ride systems. So it's really nice with this how you've got the kind of tiered seating in there as well. So you're a little bit lower at the front, a bit higher at the back, so everyone gets a good view of what's happening. And then of course, you're going around the ride and yeah, shooting at all the different screens. You've got all the cookies around there as well with Cookie Monster. That all kind of comes in with the story and theme of the ride. But there's lots in there. You've got like all the shop windows that you can look in. The Big Bird animatronic is probably my favourite part of the ride. Big Bird's right there. And as you're going throughout, there's more animatronics and props and theming around. The smells in there. It smells of cookies. And honestly, it smells so good as you're going throughout this attraction. But no, overall, I think it's an excellent dark ride. It's something that PortAventura really needed at the time. And yeah, I'm so glad that it opened in 2019. Yeah, it was a long time coming, a proper dark ride at PortAventura, especially after Sea Odyssey closed. So it was really good that they put one in. And yeah, it's an excellent ride. Sesame Street Street Mission. Right then, we're into 8th place then now, and it's a water ride. They've got some epic ones at this park, but Tatuki Splash is absolutely brilliant. This is an Intamin Shoot the Chute that actually opened with the park back in 1995. You got to bear in mind, when PortAventura opened, it didn't really have many big rides. The big standout rides were Tatuki Splash and Dragon Khan. Yeah, there was no Shambhala, there was no Furious Bacco, no Stampeder. You know, all them rides have come later on in the park's life. So back when this opened, this was one of the best rides there, and I still think it's a worthy spot in 8th place now. It's got a small drop, which is good. You don't really get too wet on there, and then a double drop as well, where you can get absolutely soaked. What I do like about this ride, they've got the water squirters around as well, so people are lying there shooting you, and the theming is great. Now, it's one where the themed experience used to be better years ago, because it seems like a big volcano. It's in the Polynesian themed area, so it is like a tropical themed area with a volcano. Back in the day, at the top section, used to have like all the bubbling volcano effect, which looked really good. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that now. However, it still looks the part from off-ride. I just wish when it used to have that, they'd bring it back. Also, it used to have like an eruption. I don't know how often it was. I feel like it was maybe like every 20 minutes or something, but there was a big like eruption at the top and it would rumble, and that was really cool. We started to lose quite a lot of effects on the Tuki Splash, but I still think it's a great ride. Big mega water ride in Spain, hot climate. It's just great fun, and the interactions that you get on there as well are fantastic, and it can be an absolute soaker. Into 7th place then now, and this is Uncharted, an Intamin multi-dimension coaster that opened in 2023. Lots of different elements packed into this ride, including 4 launches, a vertical rollback, and turntables as well. So what I love about this, the exterior is probably my favourite part of the overall ride. It's built in Far West in Penitence, which is their Wild West themed area, and they've done all the rock work and everything outside. It looks the part. You've got like all the faces in there as well. It looks great. There's a massive coaster show building back there, but you wouldn't realise what they've done with the rocks is excellent. You go inside the building, queue line's very nicely detailed, lots of things to see, animatronics as well in the queue. You're kind of meandering around this maze. It feels like it goes on and on and on, especially with the PortAventura's operations, which aren't the best. You can be waiting in there for a long time, but still, you get to the ride itself, the station, and it's very nicely themed. You've got all the rocks kind of coming down. Looks very similar to Gringotts, really. Of course, over at Universal Studios, Florida, with how they did the station, definitely inspired by that. With all the rock work and everything, like you're in a bit of a catacombs, and then you come out on these beautiful trains. I've got to say, the train design's absolutely fantastic on here. Very comfortable lap bar restraints as well, and the whole trains can spin round. They can move side to side as well, which is awesome. Now, when you come out and dispatch to the left, you've got a really good scene. You move by quite fast. That kind of sets the mood for the attraction, and you think, oh, there's going to be a lot more theming. Unfortunately, there's not. In fact, there's hardly any more theming at all. You're mostly just in this big show building. You can just see the sensors for the lights, which is a shame because it had a lot of potential. I think the ride system for this from Intamin is excellent. It's the theming what lets it down. If it had better theming, this would be way further up on my list. But yeah, like Uncharted definitely deserves a place in the list, but it could have been so much better that it spent more money on the theming on the interior. But still, it's quite cool how you've got it spins into the scenes, very screen based inside, but then you have got a spike element in there, which is cool. You kind of go forwards up it and then roll back down it. You've got some launches in there, 4 launches in total, and they're all excellent. Like the actual hardware of the ride for Uncharted is amazing. It's great. Right near the end, you've got this scene where you've got like you spin down into the drop backwards, and that's another excellent part of the ride. It is just let down by the lack of theming. I feel like they spent the money on the exterior, the queue line, and then when it came to the ride, they were like, yeah, it's a coaster in a box. It doesn't really matter about theming. They could have done more projections in there, smoke effects, all sorts of different stuff, and did miss the mark on that, unfortunately. But it's a good ride. Yeah, it's certainly not like in my top 5 or anything like that. That's why it's there in 7th place. Right then, into 6th place now, and it is a wooden coaster, shall we say, twin track racing wooden roller coasters, Stampeder. Built by Custom Coasters International in 1997, one of the first big expansions that was made to PortAventura 2 years after the park opened in 1995. Designed by John Wardley. That's the thing with this park. At the time, the Tussauds Group owned Alton Towers and various other attractions. They had a stake in this park, so they made some big decisions there. And John Wardley was heavily involved in this and Dragon Con and quite a few other projects as well at the park. But Stampeder, I've got to say, the layout for this ride is fantastic. You can tell it's a Wardley design just because of it's got that interaction, it's got that fun element. You got a part of the ride where literally they come past each other like this, like really right past each other. Bear in mind that also interacts with another wooden coaster, Tomahawk, as well. So that is brilliant how you've got that interaction there. I really do like that between 3 coasters, technically 3 tracks, but just at Stampeder Stampeder itself, having the trains come towards each other is excellent. The first drop is amazing on here. The double ups, double downs, drops, turnarounds, it's got everything that you want from a wooden coaster. However, unfortunately, the trains are not great. For some reason, they changed the original CCI trains that it had on there. I remember riding it with them and it was so much better. It was a lot smoother and more comfortable. And yes, you're on a wooden coaster. You don't want it to be like butter smooth, but also you don't want to like have your brains rattled about either, have your head like shaking about so much, which it does now. So the layout for this is great. I feel like this would have been much higher up the list if it had different trains on there, because it would have really made the ride experience, or even like the new Millennium Flyers from Great Coasters International, if they could put them on there, that would be awesome. Just with all the padding and a much better restraint. The very tight, small trains on this that were put on, yeah, they're not very good trains at all, unfortunately, but still the layout is great, and yeah, it had to be in this list, but like I say, it would have been a lot higher if it had different train design on there for me. Right then, let's move on to the next ride, the halfway point, and it is Furious Baco, another roller coaster at PortAventura in the main park itself. It's an Intamin wing coaster that opened in 2007. The highlight of this ride by far is the launch. If you could get off after the launch, I think we all would. The launch is just amazing, it really is. 0 to 83.9 miles an hour in 2.5 seconds. And what makes it, it's like on a bit of an incline as well, and you get airtime at the end and you drop into the pit. This whole coaster is actually very low to the ground. It's not a very tall ride at all, and that does really make it. The fact you're going like, you know, almost 84 miles an hour, and you're so low to the ground, like most of the ride is like built into a pit round at the back. You go through a little tunnel and you really do feel the speed of this coaster. But oh boy, that train rattles you about so much, it really does. It's got to be one of the roughest rides out there, but I still go on it because I love the launch. That launch is one of the best. It's a hydraulic launch as well, cable launch. They're a dying breed now. You know, we're seeing a lot of LSMs, but for me, that launch, that sheer acceleration is absolutely incredible. It's also got a cool pre-show when it's all working. All the like wooden cogs start turning around. You got like the scientist at the top. Very cool kind of backstory to this with the monkeys and the vineyard and the wine and everything, how it all comes together. It's very fun, very quirky. Got a good soundtrack as well whilst you're waiting in that horrible cattle pen queue. But yeah, after that initial launch, you dip down into this whole back section where it's dug into these trenches. And it's basically a big figure of 8 layout. You then go through one inversion and then up over the water and into the brake run, and it jolts you to the side as you go into that brake run. It is not very comfortable at all, especially if you're on the left-hand seat. You really get that whip there onto the brake run. But overall, that launch is well worth it. That is by far the highlight of the ride. If it was just a standard launch, it wouldn't be the same. I'd rarely go on it. The fact it's got that incline launch, and the fact you are on a wing coaster as well, you know, you've got nothing underneath you, that does add to it for the acceleration of that. So it's a brilliant ride. It's just very, very rough. The train design, Intamin probably got it wrong with that one. They haven't gone on to sell any more of them, and yeah, it doesn't surprise me, to be honest, because yeah, it's a very rough and uncomfortable experience. But it had to be quite high up in this list just because of the launch. One of the best launches in the world, in my opinion, on Furious Baco. Right then, we're into 4th place then now. And it's an Intamin giant drop, the drop tower Hurricane Condor. This opened in 2005, and yeah, it features a 285-foot drop. The actual tower itself is nearly another 100 foot taller than that. But yeah, they actually dropped from 285. The look of this ride is great because it is based on this Condor. This got the tower itself, and then you've got the top of it, which is at the top of the drop tower on a slant. So it's like it's kind of pushed, it's like erupted out of the floor. And I love the theming of that. The ride itself features a few different cars that you can sit on. You've got the standard seated one, you then got a tilting one, and then you've also got stand up as well. And what makes this is the mystery of it, because you can't actually pick whether you're going on stand up or sit down. You just have to get in the queue and they will put you where you want to go. Like if you want to like, oh, I want to do this one, normally they're like, no, you've got to go on the one they put you on, just because of how it was designed. So that kind of adds to the fear of it for a lot of people, because I know there's quite a few who would ride it if it was just sit down. But of course, don't really want to do it standing up. But that does add to the thrill of it, in my opinion. They probably should have put 2 queues in. You know, I had a stand up and a sit down queue. It's like when Apocalypse used to be at Drayton Manor, their Intamin giant drop. You could pick which side you wanted to go on. With Hurricane Condor, you can't. It's just one queue. It has got single rider though, so bear that in mind. You can get on pretty fast with that. But yeah, it's a great ride. Heading all the way up. Of course, when you come out of the building, you're already quite high, and then you start to climb all the way up to the top of this tower. 200 185 feet. You hang there for a few seconds. The views are amazing, whichever side you're on, to be honest. You can see all the mountains in the distance. You can see the ocean. You can see Shambhala and Dragon Khan, Red Force, the whole resort from up there. And yeah, you literally get a few seconds to take it all in before dropping down. It's very forceful because the brakes start quite low down on there as well, which is started a little bit lower for a bit more drop thrill. But no, they do start pretty low down, which is great. And yeah, you really do feel that force when you come into the brakes. It is very fast as you're coming down. My favourite is definitely the stand-up on there, the stand-up tower, but sit-down is just as good fun as well. But stand-up looking towards the Mexico-themed area, I think that's the best tower. And obviously they can tilt forwards as well. So you really just feel yourself going forwards, which is just great. It just really adds so much to it, the fact that they do tilts. Even the sit-down one tilts as well. When they work, that's the thing with this. Like, you've got one that's I don't think ever really tilts anymore. I think they all used to tilt, then it's kind of changed over the years which ones do and which ones don't. But brilliant ride, Hurricane Condor. Certainly one of the best at PortAventura in my opinion. Right then, in third place, we're going for a classic ride and one that's actually having some retrack work done for this year, 2026. It's a B&M Bollinger & Mabillard sit-down coaster, opening day attraction, Dragon Khan, opened in 1995. DK is just such an incredible ride. It is forceful, it's intense. Hopefully with the new strap they're putting on, it doesn't lose any of it, because the roar that it makes when it's going round, the power of this ride, that old school classic B&M sit down. And we don't really see B&M selling just standard sit down coasters anymore. To be honest, B&M aren't really doing that much at all, are they, at the moment, compared to how they used to. But yeah, like Dragon Khan is just great. It's got 8 inversions, you've got a brilliant first drop up into a humongous loop, and there's so many other great moments on there. I love the 0G roll, the Cobra roll is excellent, the interlocking corkscrews near the end. It is such a good ride. The small loop you take with good speed, you go through that mid-course brake run like ridiculously fast as well. But yeah, just the layout on this is amazing. Again, it's a John Wardley ride. Originally they planned a big arrow looping coaster for that location, and then John ended up saying no, let's go for B&M after the success of Nemesis the year before at Alton Towers. So yeah, we almost didn't get Dragon Khan, but I'm so glad we did because it's just such a great ride. Very impressive coaster with 8 inversions, and yeah, just so much going on. Retracking work's happening on the loop and the Cobra roll this year. It's going to be a multi-year process, so we're going to see other elements done in the future just to preserve this iconic ride at PortAventura. Right then, we're into the final 2, and in second place, it is the Intamin LSM launch coaster in Ferrari land that opened in 2017. It is, of course, Red Force, the tallest and fastest coaster in Europe, 367 foot tall, 0 to 111.9 miles an hour in 5 seconds. LSM launch that just feels like it keeps on going and going. That's the thing now. Obviously, Intamin aren't building the accelerator coasters anymore with the hydraulic launch, but what they've done with LSMs, they've really gone a long way. I mean, Red Force, you know, is 9 years old this year, but it's got that kick. It really feels it, especially at the end of the launch. With an accelerator coaster, like with the cable launches, you got the kick straight away. With the LSM versions now, you get it at the end of the launch track, and it's like with this, when you hit that nearly 112 miles an hour, you really do feel it at the end before heading up into the huge element, which just towers over the whole park and the whole area, to be honest, just going up into that massive top hat, which is just phenomenal. You go over it at just a nice speed as well. When you're on the front row, you get the hang time. When you're on the back row, you whips down that drop at the end. It doesn't do a twist or anything on its way back down. It just kind of goes back into its normal drop position. But still, I do love that. The sheer speed and acceleration. I do wish that it had like an airtime hill there. You know, a bit like King Dakar used to have. And, you know, just something else at the end. Really, it starts to slow down. Then you go up like a tiny little bump, which is a bit weird, to be honest. But that launch is certainly one of the best when it comes to LSMs. Obviously, you've got Falcon's Flight now, which is like crazy. Like, that's over 40 miles an hour faster than that. It just shows, doesn't it? Like, these rides all help each other and innovate. Without Red Force, we might not have had Falcon's Flight because they've innovated so much with the LSM technology over the years. But yeah, phenomenal ride. The launch is amazing, the views that you get, and it's very comfortable with just a lap bar restraint as well. Red Force, certainly one of my favourites out there at PortAventura. And then, of course, in first place, good old Sesame Shambhala, which is a B&M Boulder and Mabillard hypercoaster that opened in 2012. I love this ride to bits, I really do, and I often fluctuate between, Red Force and Shambhala. I enjoy them both so much, but Shambhala is just more of a ride, isn't it? There's got more to it, more of a package. This B&M hypercoaster's got a 255-foot drop into a tunnel, and again, that adds to it so much because you've got a real head chopper as you're coming down there. Excellent first drop on the front. You really get some good hang time, especially with it having like the tiered seating. You got like 2 seats together and then 2 on the side, so it's like winged seats in a way, but you get really good hang time. On the back, you whip down that drop, but yeah, the tunnel looks way too small to fit the train through, and that's what I love from that height. You don't think you're going to fit through it. It's great. Everybody puts their arms down when they go through, even though there's plenty of clearance, and then you're up straight into a massive camelback, down then into a big ampersand turnaround, which is excellent, some good forces, a speed hill there, big airtime camelback, which is great. Then you back up pretty high again, interacting with Dragon Khan that builds it on top, which is awesome. And then you drop down into the water splash, followed by some more speed hills and camelbacks, another really good drop that catches you off guard actually, through the mid-course brake run, which is actually near the end, and then round into that final turn. And even a good bit of airtime as you head in. It's full of floater and ejector airtime. It's got a nice mix between the both. I'd say it's got more floater than it has ejector, but then on the back road, that first drop, you're out your seat, your bum's just lifting up all the way around. Honestly, I love Shambhala. Just talking about it makes you want to get back on it. It's such a good ride. But yeah, the first drop at 255 feet, 83 miles an hour top speed, and you really do feel it on that awesome B&M hyper coaster. Sesame, what a ride. But there we go. That is my list. I'd love to know yours. Is there some rides that make it into it what I didn't put in my list, or would you have them in a different order? I would love to know. So drop us down below a comment with your top 10 favourite rides at PortAventura World in Spain. If you have enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a big thumbs up. It really helps up the channel. Subscribe and turn them notifications on to be notified when we upload a brand new video. Lots more countdowns coming, and of course lots of vlogs too as we head towards the start of a brand new and very exciting 2026 season. Well, that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.